Right, I'm live on Instagram, and we're about to go live on Facebook. Are we live on Facebook?
We're starting live.
All right, we're live. Hey guys, I'm doing a Facebook Live and Instagram Live simultaneously because I know some of you guys like Instagram more than Facebook and vice versa. But let's get started. So last Thursday, I prepped this canvas because we're going to make this canvas look like this canvas. And so what we're going to do now, it's really easy. This is one of the easiest things you can paint. So I always tell people, don't be intimidated. Abstracts are a lot of fun because it can be whatever you want it to be in your mind. And you know, the great abstract artists that I know, I love the way they use color, movement. It's just really beautiful. And so that's what I'm trying to hopefully help you guys accomplish. Okay, so last week we did the studies, and you saw me make these studies. Here they are. We just did them on the tiles. You can go back on my Facebook, by the way. Oh, let me mention this. It is now, it's Thursday, July 19th. I mention that because when I repost this, I think a lot of people think they're watching the live version and they're not, and they're asking me questions and I don't answer because it's not the live version. It's noon here in the United States Central Time, July 19th. Okay, so last Thursday we did these studies and we just did them on tiles, and this will give you some idea as to how your colors are going to come out, different color combinations. Again, go back, you can watch it on my Facebook and see it if you missed last Thursday. Now we're going to do this. I prepped the canvas last week with molding paste, light molding paste from Golden, which is a great product, and then we mixed it with the black, and now it's got texture on it. Okay, so what we're going to do is go ahead and get your paints ready. Now I use different, I've got this, I've got the paper plates that I use as my palettes. Don't feel like you got to run out and get one of these. They're great. I mean, they are good for holding multiple colors. But I also use paper plates a lot. I think I showed y'all that last week. You can go to the store and buy 200 of these for next to nothing, and they make a great palette as well. I see people are watching. Hey guys, on Instagram, I've got somebody filming me on Facebook, so if I don't answer your questions, I apologize. I can't, I got one over here and guys over here too, so I'll answer them when I can. But, okay, let's get started. So, the first thing I'm going to do is, and let's talk about these, which I didn't really talk about last week, but I did make a quick video a couple of days ago. This is how we're going to apply the paint today. It's really easy. These are like putty knobs. You get them at Home Depot, Lowe's, any hardware store. Walmart will have them, Target. Any art supply store should have these as well. Instead of using a traditional brush on this, I'm using these. This came in a pack of 3 for just a few dollars. They're very affordable, but what it's going to do is it's going to act like a large palette knife. Palette knife is about this big, and I'll pull one. We used one last week. Of course, one snapped right in the middle of my broadcast, but I've got tons of them. But this is a palette knife. I use it all the time. But for this, I want to use bigger strokes. I want to use a bigger surface for smearing the paint. So I went out and bought these. Okay, so you can do this one of two ways. You can either put your paints on your palette, or you can apply them directly to the knife, but so that it looks professional. Because a lot of people are like, no, I need to put it on a palette or whatever. You can use a palette, but a lot of times I do. I just pretty much get it right out of the tube. Oh, sorry, let me put my Starbucks coffee in. Gotta have that. That's my third cup today. Yeah, Starbucks should pay me. I'm telling you, I go there every day. They've got me hooked on their coffee. Okay, so this is just a black, and I'll say this a lot in my videos. Don't get too hung up on buying the nicest paints. I buy all different brands, and when it comes to black and white, those are really basic colors. So don't feel like you have to go out and buy the most expensive tube of black or the most expensive tube of white. I also buy these. I'll do videos on this, or you can go to my YouTube channel. I make up my own paints. I'll mix them up, or I'll put them in these containers because I buy so much. And that's what I've done here. That's the white. Then I've got a gold color here, which is more like a yellow gold. We're going to use that. This brown, it's an umber. It's a raw umber. And again, this is Chroma Kill. You can find this at pretty much any art supply store. I do highly recommend you support your local art supply people because they're trying to stay in business and we want them to stay in business. There's a couple in my city that I support. And then this gold, it's more of a red gold, and we're going to put some of that on here. And you know, here's the thing, you can always put more on there, so don't glue it all out of your tube, because if you know, I hate to waste paint. And so put a little bit out, a little bit goes a long way. If you need to add more, you can add more. Then we're going to use this turquoise here, and then one other color. Oh well, we're going to use the Van Dyke brown. I talked about that last week. Again, when I did my studies, and you can go back and watch it on Facebook, also it's on my YouTube channel, I talked about the studies and the different colors that we use. So Van Dyke brown is made by Golden. I love it. It's a rich, rich brown. It's one of the most, I think, beautiful browns. And then we are to add a pop of white at the end, right there, or wherever you decide. It's really up to you. Okay, so now I got all my colors on my palette, except for the white. I'm just going to pull that right out of there. And then I'm going to go ahead and step up and start working. Okay, so I start with the bigger one. I don't know why. I just do, and I start on the corners. So hopefully you guys can see me okay. Can you see me okay? All right, cool. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I've got somebody helping me. I can't really read them on the Instagram, which is being filmed from my iPad mini, but my phone, I have a helper, and he can read any questions. So the first thing I do is I'm going to take some of that black, and I'm going to go ahead and smear it on here using that. Now you say, why go black on black? Well, you know, when I mixed the black last week with the molding paste, it tones it down. Now I'm going straight black, which is a harsher black. And as I pull down, you're going to hear this scraping noise. Again, it's just like we're putting putty on or smearing butter or whatever. And the texture that you added last week, you're hitting the peaks. And so you're going to create this really great pattern that you just can't create if you take a brush and try to do it by hand. I mean, I guess you could, but it would be really hard to do. Alright, now as I work, I'm going to put down my palette and I'm going to rotate the canvas here. And I'm going to be rotating it over and over so that I get these really great patterns going in different directions. So let's go ahead with the black still. And again, I'm using up pretty much all the black I put on here, but that's okay. If I want to add more black, I will. I've got my fan going. Don't feel like you have to have a fan going. I just like, I have fans in my studio. I like to turn them on because it makes the paint dry a little quicker, and I like to work quickly. Okay, so here I've used pretty much all of the black that I've got on my palette, and I'm just going to go ahead and, again, no rhyme or reason to it. It's an abstract. It can look any way you want it to. Now I'm going to go ahead and take my Van Dyke brown and go ahead and start throwing that on here too. And hopefully this won't be too boring. But yeah, so now I've used pretty much all of that already, and I want more of it. So again, keep your paints close by, and as you need to replenish, but I always hate to put too much paint out on my palette, because if I don't use it, then I got to figure out something to do with it. I hate to waste paint. It's too expensive, especially Golden. I love their paint, but it is expensive. So, but I'm going to go ahead and continue with this Van Dyke brown. Hopefully you guys can see the subtlety. It may be hard to see. How's the angle? Everything lighting looking okay?
It's good.
Okay, good. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and keep putting on this Van Dyke brown. And again, hopefully this won't be too boring, but I am going to keep turning my canvas that's kind of part of the deal here. That it'll keep it kind of fresh, have different strokes going in different ways, and you know, you're going to hit it going in different ways, so that really is a true abstract. Alright, so now I'm going to add the next brown, which was that raw umber, which is that one. And again, you'll see more of a subtle change here. This brown is has a little bit of a yellow tint to it. It dries darker. That's another thing you guys got to know. These paints dry darker. Once you get them on here, you'll see, I mean, when they're fresh right out, they don't dry, you know, they're pretty light, but they'll draw down, so to speak. And again, I want more of this paint, so I'm just going to get some more. There it is. Looks kind of nasty coming out of the thing, but eh. Alright, and if you don't feel comfortable with this one, then grab your next size, this one right here. So this is the next size down, and now we're just going to keep adding in some of this brown. And let's keep going. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask, but this is an easy one to do, and it takes very little time, and it looks great on the wall. I'll do other abstracts later on in the year with more whites and neutral colors. This is a pretty bold one, and it's interesting because, you know, I do this for a living, and I travel all over the country, and I find that different regions of the country, they like, you know, different color palettes. So here in the southeast where I'm located, it's more neutrals and light colors and whites and beiges and all that. Out west I find that they like their colors a little more bold. So, alright, so if you want to pull in a little bit, and we'll get a little closer on some of this. So, can you see everything good? Okay, so as I mix with the other browns before they dry, you know, they're blending on the canvas. So I like to blend my paints on the canvas as opposed to mixing them up right here and blending them. I mean, you can do that too, but you can also blend them on the canvas as you work. So, and that's kind of what I'm doing here with the browns so far. We'll go back in and probably add some more of that deep brown, which I absolutely love. And now I've got a little bit more on this, so let's go ahead and use it. So, alright, so I'm going to keep spinning the canvas. Now the next color I think I'm going to add in here is my gold color. I've got two golds that I'm going to add in. And the first one is more of a yellow gold. And I mix up a lot of my own paints. And I put them in these containers. And I'm not scared to tell you, I use a lot of house paints as well because they make some beautiful house paints. But this gold is probably a combination of several golds that I've made or used. Making a mess. Yeah, just know if you're going to have a studio like me, you're going to make a little mess, or I do. Do a little gold got here. Hate to waste it. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it in here. But yeah, I love this gold, and I'm just, again, pulling down. I'm going across like this, just in a cross direction. And that's really all we're doing with this abstract. We're not going to use a lot of movement, a lot of flows, a lot of angles. Really, we're just going down and across, down and across. And as you pull, again, what you're doing is you're hitting the peaks of your texture, and it's making patterns that you just, you couldn't ever make otherwise. So let's go ahead and stop with that. That's one, again, that was one gold. And when I say gold, it's a metallic-y gold. Metallic gold is really hot right now in abstracts. Just gives it a little bit of pop. A lot of the best abstract artists I know use a little bit of metallic gold. Some of them use a lot of it. I'm going to stick with this knife right here. Now I'm using the red gold, and I'm just going to blend that in here. And again, you're going to hit pockets. See, the paint is flying a little bit. Don't get intimidated, and don't work too, what I mean is, don't be too like, oh, scared to touch the canvas. Remember, the great thing about acrylic is you can always paint over it if for some reason, you know, it doesn't come out the way you like it. But I swear, some of the best paintings I do, some of the best paintings my friends do that do this professionally, they do really fast, because I think sometimes if you sit there and you think about it too much, you overanalyze your work, and it just doesn't come out very, I don't know, just not as good, I think. So no, don't worry about touching the canvas. If you go a little fast, that's fine. I love working fast. I've been doing this since 2004 professionally, and what I realized is my best work is some of my fastest work. And that's not to take away, you know, that it's done in a cheap manner, or that I don't put in a lot of thought or effort or do studies before, but when it's time to step up to the plate, I definitely just go at it and see what comes out, especially with stuff like this. Now my red tree paints, which you can see on my website, that's what I'm known for. You can go to thomasandrewart.com, or if you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, you've seen my red trees. That's kind of what I'm known for, and I can do those really fast because I've been doing them a long time. It's kind of my bread and butter. These abstracts are kind of new for me. I'm not a typical abstract artist. I've done them in the past, but I've really just done them for me in my home. So, all right, I'm going to keep changing. And I like bold colors. Again, some of the best abstract artists I know do those light, you know, very soft colors, muted colors, really beautiful. I personally love bolder colors, and this is really a preference. Everybody's got to figure out what they like. Alright, so now I'm adding in some turquoise here, and again I'm just kind of going, and it's blending in with the gold, and no rhyme or reason to it. You know, don't make your painting too where it looks exactly the same on both sides. You know, you want it to be kind of spontaneous, especially with abstracts. You don't want it to be where it looks like you just took one side and mirrored the other side, unless that's really the look you like. I personally, you know, just want it to be kind of whatever flows out of me. I find, again, that works best for me. If I sit there and I look at it, I'll torture myself, and it just doesn't look as good. So hopefully you're getting the idea. And this is the part, you know, you can work on this and you can keep adding the browns, you can keep adding the golds over and over and over, and every time you do, it's going to make for a richer painting. I'm doing it fast because I want to do these Facebook Lives in about 30 minutes. But as for you, if you want to spend, you know, time on the browns, add more browns, then do it. You know, when's the stopping point? That's really up to the artist. That's really up to the artist. You know, some artists know when to stop, and some artists, they don't. I have friends, they torture themselves because they keep going back and they keep reworking their work over and over and over. And the reality is, it was probably really great the first time, but in their mind, they just had a hard time stopping. When you do this for a living, though, you know, you realize time is money. You know, it's like anything. And, you know, you don't want to spend 1,000 hours on something that you're only going to sell for, let's say, $100 or whatever. So yeah, you really have to think about that if you want to do this for a living. Is you got to budget your time. You definitely want to give your clients the best product, the best art available, because that's who you are. It's a part of you. So give them your best, that's for sure. Okay, so now I'm just scraping the palette, and really, you know, again, I could just keep going back and forth, and if you don't like it, like if you're going, oh no, it's not whatever, then just turn it and see how you like it this way, you know. I mean, I just keep turning it. You know, when I did this one over here, I just kept turning it and turning it and turning it until I kind of got to a point where I said, I think it looks good. So, you know, but again, all I'm doing are these strokes. This way, horizontal and vertical, just over and over. All right, so you can leave it here if you like it. It's really up to the artist. You can say, hey, I see someone says it's looking good, thank you. And yeah, or if you want to add in a little pop of white. And again, I always like to pop in like one central color that where the eye draws to. I mean, this looks good. I think I could leave it like this. But let's throw a little white in there for funsies. And again, guys, don't be scared to touch your canvas. Don't think you're going to mess it up. Because if you do mess it up, and Lord knows I've messed up plenty, you can always go back and work on top of it. And what I've learned is the more times you go back and work on top of it, sometimes it just makes for a richer painting. Okay, so I pulled a little bit of white out. I'm using this white out of my container, and I'm using this small knife right here. Let's see what we can do here. So I never put things directly in the middle. You know, I'm not going to put it right here. Just like I got a little more of the turquoise here. Here I added the white kind of on top of the gold. But I think what I'm going to do is add that white right in here and see what happens. And again, the cool part is when you mix colors on the canvas, you know, you really don't know what you're going to get, but usually you get something pretty spectacular because as you can probably see, and I don't know if you can see or if you want to move in a little bit, but I mean, look at these different shades of color in here. I mean, I could never just mix that up and create it, you know, right here. They're blending together on the canvas, and I really love that. And some of the best artists I know, of course I study other artists. I mean, part of being an artist is you study art. It never stops. No matter how successful you are, you continue to study. And I love to study technique. I love to study people's style. I love to watch other videos of artists and see how they do it. But yeah, a lot of the artists I know that do abstracts, they blend it right on to the canvas. So now, that's pretty good. I think I'm going to continue with a little more white in here. I want a little bit better pop. And I think, and here's the thing, even when I shut off this Facebook Live and Instagram Live, I'll look at it for a day or two, and I always tell people, if you don't like your painting after you've been looking at it for an hour or 2 hours, don't throw it away, don't paint over it, stick it in the closet for a day or two and pull it back out. Because as artists, as you stand here and you look at your artwork for, you know, an hour or two at a time, you kind of lose it. And that's what happens in the live workshops that I teach, and there's just no way around it. But yeah, after a couple hours of standing in a live workshop working on the artwork, usually the artist says, oh, or the student says, oh, I hate what I'm doing, it just doesn't look good. And I tell them, don't paint over it. Take it home, stick it in a closet, pull it out in a few days. I promise you, it looks so much better than you think it does. It's just, they've been looking at it so long. And really, after a couple of days, you come in with a fresh set of eyes, and it just looks better. So, alright, I'm going to leave this for now, because I don't want this Facebook Live or Instagram Live to go on too long. So we're going to cut it off here. I do want to mention this. So I'm going to start doing Facebook and Instagram Lives on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Next Tuesday at 12 noon Central Time here in the United States, because I have a lot of international artist friends, just let them know. But what we're going to do, this will be really cool, so you don't want to miss this, is we're going to apply the oil stain. If you know anything about my work, or if you've watched any of my YouTube tutorials, and you can find that on youtube.com/ThomasAndrewArt, you'll know that I apply a tinted oil stain to my work once I'm done. And that's how you make a acrylic painting look like an oil painting. And so what we're going to do is take one of these, and we're going to apply the oil stain to it on Tuesday. You don't want to miss that. It's going to be really cool. It really changes the painting. It really makes it beautiful. And that's what we're going to do on Tuesday. All right, so that's it for now. I'm going to say goodbye. Everybody, good luck. If you have questions, message me either through Instagram or Facebook. I'm always happy to help. And again, good luck. I'll see you Tuesday.